I don't think it's a particularly interesting distinction to make today, but very often with games, people say games are great, and what it was is, well, the ending was great. The end of the game was great. Last night's game was fun for a lot of reasons, but I did not have that fourth quarter happening all of a sudden, where when Mike talks about the narratives, James Franklin is now 0-13 in his last 13 games against top 5 teams. He's 4-20 career against top 10 teams, and now in 11 seasons at Penn State, he's 1-15 against top 5 teams. And that one was there for the taking. And I believe that all of us looking at this would say if those teams kept playing, we don't know. That's the arbitrary measurement of the day. But if they kept playing, we don't know who would win if they played 10, 15, 20 times, because we're at the point of the season that if Texas beats Ohio State, you'd be like, yeah. If Ohio State beats Texas, you'd be like, yeah. But I don't think this is an accurate measurement for who's best. It's just an accurate measurement for who wins that particular night. I know it's the measurement we got. I know, but you're going to have a hard time convincing me that Notre Dame is the best team in football after they've lost to Northern Illinois at home during the season.
Wow. Quick Mac shot out the gate. I'm not going to condone that. But isn't that what you want in the playoffs, though? That you, like, anybody could win on any given night. Is that not the goal?
My preference for all playoffs is find me the best winner, but we have imperfect measurement systems everywhere except basketball.
If I may espouse the virtues of Fighting Irish football in an unlikely scenario for me, no, I think if you play that game 10 times, that was just about the weakest form of Notre Dame when you consider their really bad injury situation. That game was totally there to be had for Penn State, up 10-0. It felt like a 3-score lead with all the momentum. And then Angeli comes in, and they get a crucial field goal.
Field goal drive of the year.
It was massive for that game. And then they start the very next drive, and that Penn State side, which was that stadium was loud last night. It came across on the television. They get the delay of game, and you're thinking, man, Notre Dame is toast. But they compose themselves. They answer right back. You realize this is a tie game. And then we're just playing with James Franklin now. You know that he's going to screw this up. Drew Aller is so friggin' overrated. I can't believe. I don't know if you were watching this game with the sound on. I wish you did. Because right before Drew Aller threw that interception, Greg McElroy said, Drew Aller is not the type of quarterback that's going to throw an interception.
He was like, you should get
spot.
Aggressive in this spot. He's not going to throw an interception. And like 2 plays later, he threw a bone-crushing interception to Christian Gray, which set up Notre Dame to kick the game-winning field goal. Yeah, I mean, what a freaking game. It was awesome. It was so loud on that Penn State side, too, and like it seemed like it was actually really bugging Notre Dame and Riley Leonard when the offense was on that side of the field. And I mean, for these bowl games to feel like a college football game, like that's a tough thing to do in an NFL stadium, and that felt like a real college football game, and it was just an incredible atmosphere and so much fun.
Let me ask you guys a question. How do you feel about fans who overreact in the middle of the game? I get if it's at the end of the game and you just do a big pick six or whatever, like, oh my God. But it's crazy to me, like there was an interception earlier in the fourth quarter, and then they do the crowd shots, and so many people were crushed, like their life is over.
I love that about this sport. I love that about this sport because it taps into something like almost primal that the professional sports don't. The tribalism attached to college athletics is the closest thing that we have to European soccer. And I love that it manifests on the face. The surrender cobras in the sands. I think it just provides great drama. Jess is here. That's one of the best Notre Dame feelings that she's ever had, but also throughout that game, probably the worst she's ever felt watching a game.
Yeah, I felt terrible. And like Dan alluded to it in the Shadow Show, but I was in like the Notre Dame parent section, and during the game I was next to Xavier Watts' family, and like we were right against a railing, and like I had my head like over the railing with my head down. Thanks, I guess. The tickets were nice. Like we weren't in like a suite or anything.
You're in the player family section.
Yeah, Ryan Clark was a few seats away from us too.
Ooh, name drop.
That one's worth it. Was he wearing the lapel pin?
Double. You got double.
I was like, hey, I work for the Le Batard Show. I'm a huge fan, but also I'm a Steelers fan, and like you're my hero. And then like an hour later, we were dapping each other up after the Christian Gray interception. But anyways, I mean, to your point, like I was like head bent over, like I can't believe this. Like this team looks so gassed. They haven't played like this all season long. Like just bad in the trenches in a way that I haven't seen. And like Mike mentioned, like losing 2 linemen in the first half is brutal. The defensive line is completely decimated. There's 3 starters out just on the line, and Howard Cross is playing with one leg. Jeremiah Love's playing with one leg. It still scores that touchdown somehow. That's
an
2-yard
iconic
run.
moment. That run from Jeremiah Love with the brace on his leg to battle through. And Abdul Carter was the best player on that field.
Yeah.
And he's one of the players that slip off Jeremiah Love in there, who's giving it his all, like a heroic effort. That was just such a great game.
Like the second half, like I'm bent over in pain. Like I can't look at the field. And the players' families, literally, one of the players' like moms is rubbing my back. She's like, "It's gonna be okay. Like we got this. We're gonna win. It's okay. We got this." And I was like, I can't even watch.
One of the things we're always talking about around here in sports is, was it fun? Because if you'd lost that game by a field goal, you'd come in here today and say that's one of the worst experiences of my life.
She'd come in?
If she came in, she would say she'd feel hungover and she'd feel terrible. She'd have trouble sleeping. But the experience is the same in both instances. It's just the ending. So did you have fun? Like, did you actually have fun to be in pain and feel like you're vomiting all game?
I had so much fun. First of all, tailgate lots didn't open until 2:30. Orange Bowl, figure it out. That's bad. From 2:30 until kickoff at like 7:30, I had the time of my life. And then from 7:30 until like 11:30, I was in a bad, dark place. Do not read my text message thread with Mike Golick Jr. I'm going to burn that. No one should ever see the things that I said. No, I mean, I think that like in a lot of ways, this season was a success for Notre Dame, no matter whether or not they had won last night. They beat Georgia last week in the Sugar Bowl. They broke the New Year's Six Sugar Bowl game, or the New Year's Six bowl game losing streak. They had a 13-win season. Like they beat Indiana in the first round. Like it's a really good season for Notre Dame. But obviously, you want to win a championship and you want to win the game that's in front of you. And it was excruciating watching that team with all of the injuries like they have, especially in the trenches where they've been so solid this season, and on defense where their defense has been pushing around other teams all season. It just was a hard game to watch because I know that this team is better than that. And I think a ton of credit has to be given to Penn State because they looked like the more organized team for a lot of that game. They were able to put pressure on Notre Dame, and they were able to really maintain that level of dominance in the lines that Notre Dame did to Georgia 7 days ago. So yeah, it was painful to watch because I know this team is honestly like they're better than that, and I'm super happy they won. Totally like a toss-up outcome given where the game was at in the fourth quarter. But regardless, I was like trying to maintain some perspective on the season while watching my soul get crushed, and then like by the grace of God and Marcus Freeman, they somehow came back and won that game and put together 2 really competent quarters, even though Riley Leonard threw like a awful interception and was out for a series in the first half. Like it was brutal to watch, but the release of tension after the game, going into the tailgate lot for like an hour afterwards and seeing all my friends there and family members and friends' parents, like seeing Mitch Jeter's dad walked by and I gave him a "Yeah, Jeets." It was awesome and like made up for all of the stress of the previous 4 hours.